Recent photos of the president have shown minor bruising on the back of his hand. This is consistent with minor soft tissue irritation from frequent handshaking and the use of aspirin, which is taken as part of a standard cardiovascular prevention regimen.
Donald Trump promised strength, but his own strength is now being questioned. Bruises on his hands, stumbles on stage, viral rumors of heart failure, and even bizarre speeches about earning a place in heaven. The White House insists he is healthy, but the more they reassure, the less convincing it sounds. What we're witnessing isn't just a health story, it's a presidency slipping out of control. Because when a leader's body becomes the subject of speculation, the nation begins to wonder if power itself is fragile. But is Trump really near collapse? Or is this just another political mirage? Let's take a closer look. In July 2025, the White House finally admitted that Trump suffers from chronic venous insufficiency. It's not a fatal disease, but the announcement itself was telling. Leaders don't normally go public with every medical condition unless the rumors become too loud to ignore. By confirming even a minor issue, the administration signaled it was losing control of the story.
On another note, I know that many in the media have been speculating about bruising on the president's hand and also swelling in the president's legs. So in the effort of transparency, the president wanted me to share a note from his physician with all of you today. In recent weeks, President Trump noted mild swelling in his lower legs. In keeping with routine medical care and out of an abundance of caution, this concern was thoroughly evaluated by the White House medical unit. The president underwent a comprehensive examination, including diagnostic vascular studies. Bilateral lower extremity venous Doppler ultrasounds were performed and revealed chronic venous insufficiency, a benign and common condition, particularly in individuals over the age of 70. Importantly, there was no evidence of deep vein thrombosis or arterial disease. Laboratory testing included a complete blood count, comprehensive metabolic panel, coagulation profile, D-dimer, B-type natriuretic peptide, and cardiac biomarkers. All results were within normal limits. An echocardiogram was also performed and confirmed normal cardiac structure and function. No signs of heart failure, renal impairment, or systemic illness were identified. Additionally, recent photos of the president have shown minor bruising on the back of his hand. This is consistent with minor soft tissue irritation from frequent handshaking and the use of aspirin, which is taken as part of a standard cardiovascular prevention regimen. This is a well-known and benign side effect of aspirin therapy. And the president remains in excellent health, which I think all of you witness on a daily basis here.
Farron Cousins tears apart the so-called shaking hand myth with facts the White House doesn't want you to hear.
Karoline Leavitt was reached for comment about the new bruise on his left hand, and here's what she said. President Trump is a man of the people, and he meets more Americans and shakes their hands on a daily basis than any other president in history. His commitment is unwavering, and he proves that every single day. It's worth noting that this horrible wretch of a human being said this on her birthday. So happy belated birthday to the demon, Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt. But anyway, that makes no sense. And remember when we got Donald Trump's health record, a couple months ago, his physician, Navy Captain Sean Barbarella, said that his bruising is consistent with minor soft tissue irritation from frequent handshaking and the use of aspirin, which is taken as part of a standard cardiovascular prevention regimen. Even on a baby aspirin regimen, it's not going to cause bruising like that from mild irritation. And that doesn't explain the left hand. Donald Trump is right-handed. He only shakes people's hands with his right hand. And by the way, if he is so frail and fragile that shaking a couple hands leaves him with a big old bruise, then he's too frail to be president of the United States. Right? If you can't handle shaking hands, which again, he's not even doing every day like they claim, but if he can't handle that, if his body's like, oh, shaking hands, I can't do this anymore, then yeah, not a guy that's in good health. But none of that explains the left hand. because Donald Trump only shakes with his right. So Caroline Leavitt's explanation as to why is there a bruise on his left hand, well, he's shaking people's hands. No, he's not. He does not shake hands with his left hand. So your explanation, both Caroline Leavitt's and the doctors, total BS. We can immediately write off whatever they tell us about his health because they are obviously lying.
Then we have James Carville, who says Trump's health has been a cover-up from the very beginning. They've been hiding it since 2017, dressing it up with fake reports and spin doctors. The bruises, the stumbles, the bizarre speeches, they're not new. The truth is old, buried, and now leaking out. Once the public senses weakness, even a benign diagnosis becomes political dynamite. The point here, this wasn't about medicine, it was about power. Health transparency turned into damage control, and the mere fact that Trump's team had to talk about his legs showed how fragile the presidency's image of strength had already become. But here is where it gets weird. We were talking about bruises now. The bruise on Trump's hand became more than just a mark. It became a symbol. Sometimes it was visible, other times hidden with makeup. The White House shrugged it off as the result of aspirin and handshakes. But if it was so simple, why conceal it?
Yeah, right. He's been trying to cover up. We've seen the makeup on his hand, covering up these bruises. We've noticed this for some time. First of all, Anderson, I think going back to February, even with a visit that he had at that point, we saw some pictures of bruising on his hand. The White House doctors commented on this, and they said this is irritation and sort of minor trauma to the hand. They say probably as a result of lots of handshaking, on top of the fact that he's taking aspirin as an anticoagulant. So, Anderson, I'll tell you that does track. People who are on blood thinners or some sort of blood thinner like this and have repeated sort of trauma to the hand or just even handshakes can cause that sort of bruising. So that's what they concluded after examining him, and it sort of fits.
That concealment turned a medical footnote into a political scandal. Leaders can survive illnesses, but they cannot survive the perception of secrecy. The bruise wasn't the real problem, the cover-up was. And the point is this: every small concealment plants doubts. Once people believe their leader is hiding the truth about his body, they start to wonder what else he's hiding about the country. And the internet did what the White House feared most. It filled the silence. Jennifer Welch and Angie from iHip News explain how worse the situation might be.
Well, I think the bruises all over his hands, I think that maybe because he didn't know he was going to have the press conference, he didn't have time to put the horrible makeup on it, because it was marked. I mean, it was he looked like it was almost rotten. There were like sores in it.
Well, let me show you this, Pops.
Okay.
Here's Queen Elizabeth II's hand a few days before she died. And you can see the close-up, and it has a bruise. And this is, she's up walking around, and a few days later, she's dead. All right, now let's put up Kanks's hand. Here's Kanks's hand in the Oval Office yesterday when he mistakenly does 3 press conferences in a row, crammed with all of his cabinet behind him, doting on, looking at him, nodding their heads. And I can't help but think that there's something really insidious going on, that they keep telling him, oh, you're in charge, big guy. Let's go do another press conference.
Once millions see a narrative of collapse, truth becomes secondary. But here is the thing: facts can be debated, but images cannot. Trump bragged about his perfect cognitive test scores, then stumbled across a red carpet and wobbled on a golf course, unable to walk straight. Those moments said more than any doctor or press release ever could. The videos go viral, where Trump tries to walk straight toward Putin on the red carpet, but it looks like a challenge for him. Take a look.
And you look at Vladimir Putin emerging from his aircraft just seconds after President Trump has emerged from his. So Trump the first to set foot on Alaskan soil here as Vladimir Putin makes his way down the stairs. All of this presumably choreographed between the two sides very tightly in terms of the protocol here of who greets who and when, and whether each man makes the other man wait for the handshake. All of that is something that both sides will have thought through very clearly. Striking to me, Scott, that you have this setup here. The sign says Alaska 2025. There's a blue platform for the leaders to stand on, which aides were vigorously vacuuming in the hour leading up to this meeting. But then flanking the stage are F-22 jets, American F-22 jets, noses pointed in toward where the two leaders will be standing.
Right.
It's got to be somewhat unpleasant for Vladimir Putin, at least, to stand underneath that display of American firepower.
Americans didn't see strength, they saw fragility. Psychologists warned it could be a neurological decline. The White House called it clumsiness. But the point is this: once weakness is seen, it cannot be unseen. Desperate to counter the narrative, Trump's allies turned to Congressman Ronnie Jackson, his former doctor, who called him the healthiest president in history. But Jackson is a figure dogged by scandals, accused of exaggerating Trump's health, even back in 2018. His words now carried less credibility than ever. Instead of silencing doubts, he amplified them. The point is that when a presidency leans on discredited voices, it doesn't defend its legitimacy, it undermines it. Then came Trump's own words, claiming his efforts for peace might secure him a place in heaven. For some, it was religious rhetoric. For others, it was the most human sign yet. A man conscious of his mortality, wrestling with legacy. Listen to what he said in an interview with Fox News.
Just want to end it. I want to end it. We're not losing American lives. We're not losing American soldiers. We're losing Russian and Ukrainian, mostly soldiers. Some people, as missiles hit wrong spots or get lobbed into cities like Kiev and towns. But, if I can save 7,000 people a week from being killed, I think that's I want to try and get to heaven if possible. I'm hearing I'm not doing well. I hear I'm really at the bottom of the totem pole. But if I can get to heaven...
They tried to downplay it too. When asked directly, does President Trump want to go to heaven, the White House spokesperson didn't hitch. She said, "I think the president wants to get to heaven."
And then as a follow-up, I know the president said on Fox News this morning that he's partially seeking peace in order to get to heaven. Was he joking, or is there spiritual motivation behind his peace deals here?
I think the president was serious. I think the president wants to get to heaven, as I hope we all do in this room as well.
Trump doesn't know what he's doing. Each day he stumbles, each word sounds weaker.
I mean, when I think about his physical decline on top of his mental decline, and then I turned on Legacy News this morning, and it is just like they're covering these batshit press conferences. Like, president signs executive order for this. There's no mention of him lying. There's no mention of the bruises on his hand. There's no mention of him militarizing the cities, trash talking Americans. There's no mention of any of that, which then I want to take you to look at these photos right here. Pop this up. Look at his eyes. Look at his hand. Look at how puffy and swollen his eyes are. And this is on top of, when you hear video of him, he sounds like he has marbles in his mouth, and he has no idea what on earth he is talking about.
So from 2017 until now, the story hasn't been about strength. It's been about survival. They can spin reports, bring out doctors, or laugh or questions, but the truth keeps leaking through the cracks. Trump doesn't look like a man in control. He looks like a man running out of time. Do you think Trump's health is being hidden from the public? Let us know in the comment section. Is this weakness just age or a bigger cover-up?